The ch sound is a bit difficult because we don't have it in English either. We have it in German. It's called the ich sound. So if you speak German, then again, you're lucky because it's the same sound. But if you don't, then unfortunately you have to learn it. It's quite easy actually, but many students don't put in the effort to learn it, which is a bit sad because you can basically get to it within a couple of days. It's not that complicated. I'm going to show you how. The basis for the ich sound is that we smile. Right? We have a broad smile, like when we want to say E or E. So that's the same position. Now, what we do quite naturally when we are in this position of the lips, then the tongue is basically touching the teeth here on the side. And for practicing, you can even fix the tongue there a little bit. So you can bite on the tongue a bit. Yeah, not too much. Don't make it painful for you. But just here and there, like make sure that the tongue cannot move. The tip of the tongue will be free, but you push it down. And then all you do is actually breathe out. So when you want to practice this letter, you need a lot of air. So breathe in deeply. Fix the tongue. Tip of the tongue goes down, and then and that's basically all you do. There's no voice, there is not much pressure. Basically, everything you do is breathe out a lot. One mistake that I can hear sometimes is that the tip of the tongue is not down, and then the letter becomes a sh, right? When I say ich, that's okay, but if I push the tongue up, you can hear, even though the position of the tongue was the same here, but the tip of the tongue went up, and that gives it a different sound quality. So then somehow it sounds like a sh, which, by the way, is something that is happening in a couple of Norwegian dialects. So some dialects have a tendency to mixing up the h and the sh sound, but it's very few dialects, and I don't recommend you to do that actually. So practice this a couple of days, as usual, in front of the mirror, just a couple of minutes in the morning, a couple of minutes in the evening. Once that works well for you, try it with all the vowels. So say like something he, he, hya, hya, hyo, and so on. And you're going to see, of course, the easy ones are he and he, because these two are produced when we're smiling, so we don't have to do much. We just switch from one sound to the other. But when we want to say something like hyo, then it's a bit difficult because we have to go from that smiling position to the whistling position, to the round position. So these sounds like hya, hyo, hyu, he will require a bit more work from your side. Practice them super slowly. So don't go and say something like he, yeah, because most likely you're going to mess it up a little bit, and then you cannot check what you're actually doing wrong. So if you want to practice he, then really concentrate. Okay, first I'm going to do the he sound, so I'm going to breathe out a little bit, 1 or 2 seconds. Okay, now to the e. He. Okay, so he. And watch yourself in the mirror. Check, is the he correct? Am I smiling? Is the tip of the tongue down? And then when I go to the E, are my teeth visible, or is my mouth too closed? So it's actually not an E, it's an U, or maybe something else. Okay, so that's basically the work. That's basically how to get there. As I said, it just takes usually a couple of days. Sometimes if it takes you 2-3 weeks, don't get discouraged. It's also normal that it can take a little bit longer, but usually the sound is not very complicated. One more thing, we usually write this sound with a KJ, like in kjære. We can also just write it as a KI. So whenever we write KI in Norwegian, we also say hje. So we say kirke, we don't say kirke. We also sometimes write it as a TJ, like in hua, but that's relatively rare. So usually it's written as a KJ or a KI or a KY, our favorite, hy, okay, like in hys or hyst. Don't mix it up with a SKJ because that's a sh, like skjære. That's a sh sound, like in the English word fish or English. Whereas kjære, that is the sound that I've just taught you, this sound. And these two words actually mean different things. One means deer and the other one means to cut. So make sure that you don't mix them up.